Good morning, everybody. I'm at home today, no reason to go out, so I'm being good. I haven't gone out, so here I am at the vicarage. And in case you ever wondered where the vicarage was, here in Oak Lane. There you go, that's where I live. So if ever you want to find me, down the bottom of Oak Lane, there's Grig Lane there. The street's just round there, and I've just realised all our seeds of hope have gone, so I'll take this in. And if anybody still wants some, we do have some more on order. It will be the last lot I order, but there's a nice load coming that hopefully will be with us by the end of the week. Right, anyway, joke for the day, because you do get one today because it's not Good Friday anymore. Once upon a time, I'm going to sit down here, I think. Once upon a time, there was a man. He was actually an anthropologist. He loved studying animals. He thought of himself as another David Attenborough, really. And he went all around the world looking for strange creatures and documenting them. And one day he was out on holiday in Malaysia, very far away from anywhere. And he heard people talking about this creature, which he thought was a mythical creature, the giant white mountain gorilla. Now, he had sort of heard it before, but he really thought that it was a mythical creature. But the people where he was assured him that it was real. And they even told him where to go. But he was given one piece of advice. He said, you can do whatever you like with the giant white mountain gorilla, but please do not touch it. So the anthropologist thought, I've got to take got to go. So he went out into the middle of nowhere, pitched his tent in a field, and then the next morning he gets up, gets all his hiking gear together, and he walks across the field, and he catches a little boat across the river. Then he climbs over a mountain, and then he goes through a forest. The forest is horrible. It's full of great big spiders and snakes, and he really feels like turning back. But he doesn't, because he knows that just the other side of the forest he's going to find the giant white mountain gorilla. So he keeps going, and eventually he finds this little hut. His heart's pumping. Oh, this is going to make his day. This is going to make his name for the whole world. And in he goes, and there it is. This enormous, great big white gorilla. And he thinks it's wonderful. And he spends the whole day taking photos, taking measurements, sort of doing tests, and, recording it to see what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, he's just about packed up, and he thinks to himself, you know what, if I was worth my salt, I'd touch it and find out what happened. I really should know. And then he thinks, he puts his hand out to touch it through the bars, and it raises itself up and it lets out an almighty growly, roary thing. And he thinks better of it. He looks at it and thinks, it's going to make mincemeat of me. I don't think I'll bother. So with that, he packs up and he goes back. He goes through the forest with all the spiders and the snakes. He goes over the mountain. He goes through the river, across the river, and back across the field to his tent. He tosses and turns all night. Eventually he gets up the next morning and he thinks, it's no good, I'm never going to sleep again unless I find out why I can't touch the giant white mountain gorilla. So back he goes, across the field, across the river, climbs over the mountain, through the forest with all the spiders and the snakes, and eventually he gets to the hut. And he comes in, opens the door, and there's the giant white mountain gorilla, and it raises itself up. And he thinks, so I've got to do it. So he puts his hand out, and through the bars, he touches it, through the bars. The giant white mountain gorilla lets out an almighty roar and bursts through its cage. Well, the anthropologist doesn't need to be told twice what he should be doing. So with that, he turns heel and runs for all his life. He goes through the forest with all the spiders and the snakes, over the mountain. He swims across the river because he can't be bothered to wait for the boat, across the field, and then into his tent where he hides underneath a blanket. And all the time he can hear behind him the giant white mountain gorilla. Thump, 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 roar through the forest with the spiders and the snakes. Thump, 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 roar over the mountain. Splash, splash, splash as he wades through the river. Thump, 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 roar as he goes across the field. And then he hears the sound of the giant white mountain gorilla circling his tent. Then he's aware of a sound. It's lifted back the canvas entrance. It's coming in. And then it lifts up the blanket to expose him. And the giant white mountain gorilla goes, "You're it," and runs away. Oh dear, wasn't that bad? Well, today is Holy Saturday. Not Easter Saturday, that's next week. We're still in Holy Week. Next week's Easter week. So it's Holy Saturday today. And it's the day that we're thinking about all the disciples and how they were coping, knowing that Jesus had died. They hadn't actually quite got to grips with what was really going on. They also thought that they were it now. They were absolutely terrified. And they'd actually locked themselves away in a room. It was the room they'd spent the Last Supper in. And they were hiding for their lives. They were a rudderless, leaderless rabble who were completely and utterly lost and devastated. The person who they'd put all their future on had gone. He was dead. And they didn't know what was going to happen. And they were terrified that the Romans or the Jewish authorities were going to come and find them next. So they were hiding. I suppose you could say in a way they were self-isolating. Of course, the following day, Jesus did come back to life. He was resurrected. And actually, he appeared in that room with them and proved himself to them. The bolted door didn't stop him coming in. Now, I know that many of us are beginning to go a little bit stir crazy because we feel as though we've been bolted inside our homes and we cannot get out. We might be fearful of what might get in. But I can promise you that there is one person who will always get in if we want him, and that's Jesus Christ. And I promise you he won't bring COVID-19 with him. All you have to do is to ask him to come in and give you the assurance that he is there and he is looking after you, and he will. Now this evening I'm going to do something very special, so you're going to get another live feed at 9 o'clock this evening, because it is the tradition in many churches after it gets dark to have a special service called the First Light. In that I will light the Paschal candle, the special candle we light for Easter, just to symbolise the fact that Christ has come back from the dead, that he is alive. It is a special service. So I encourage you to tune in at 9 o'clock if you would like. It doesn't last very long, it's going to be very cut down, so it'll only be about 10 minutes, but I think it's very special. And once I've done that, then Lent is officially over. So if you've given something up for Lent, you can start to celebrate. I know I will be. I've got the chocolates, the crisps and the beer all on standby. So, God bless and stay safe.